Greetings and salutations, fellow gamers and KKP clansfolk. This is Mr. Toffee here, and for this incredibly special KKP Rhapsody, it's nothing but E3 2019 news and highlights. We're going to remove our 5 minutes or less stipulation just for this episode, because there's a lot going on, and we're going to try something different too. First up, we will list down each press conference in order of appearance and their highlights. Then, we'll talk about the rest of the gaming news that do not fit the publisher categories. Sounds good? Alright, so here we go! We got our first 15-minute look at Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is considered a rarity in companies like EA. A pure single-player game with no microtransactions and loot box nonsense. Of course, the company will offset this discipline with their next entry in the FIFA series, FIFA 20. The title features an overhauled penalty kick system via removing the sweet spot goaling tricks FIFA players have been doing for a millennium, tense one-on-one situations on the field, and a new FIFA futsal mode called Volta. So you can have your hardcore 3v3 no goalie matches in this recent annualization of the football franchise. Pretty standard livestream stuff. I give this one a couple of Battlefront 2 loot boxes out of 5. Microsoft has bought over Double Fine. But before you start pulling out your pitchforks, Double Fine CEO Tim Schafer said that all previous Kickstarter backer agreements and obligations will be honored, which means your precious Psychonauts 2 will still be out for PS4 and other non-Xbox consoles. Future titles from Double Fine will be Xbox exclusives. While we're talking about bought over studios, Ninja Theory announced its 4v4 online multiplayer brawler game Bleeding Edge, featuring zany characters like this chap over here. But if we're talking AAA first party stuff, Gears 5 will be out 10th September, while Halo Infinite will be out holiday 2020, with the latter being a launch title for Xbox's Project Scarlet, their next-gen console. It will run games up to 120 frames per second, features a solid-state drive and faster loading times, some ray tracing, and quote-unquote 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One. Oh yeah, and some guy from John Wick is going to be in Cyberpunk 2077. I heard it's pretty cool.
You're breathtaking!
I give Xbox's press conference 3 bearded tech wizards out of 5 Keanu Reeves. After some rather tidy apologizing from Todd Howard, we get our noteworthy Fallout 76 scoop. The game is getting NPCs, something that should have been in the game since last year, don't you think? Also a Battle Royale mode called Nuclear Winter. Should be fun for apologists everywhere. We also got a quick look at a number of new games, though it's mostly pre-rendered CG movies and not actual gameplay. One title is called Ghostwire Tokyo, presented by Shinji Mikami's Moe protege, which features the paranormal making people in Tokyo disappear. Oh, and
It's spooky.
Arcane, the folks behind the Dishonored series, is also working on a new title called Deathloop, featuring assassins and what could be a Groundhog Day scenario. Most importantly, the sequel to 2016's best shoot 'em up is getting a 22nd November release date this year, and a pretty nifty multiplayer mode made in-house unlike in the last game. It will still have Mick Gordon on heavy metal soundtrack duty, to which we say,
Hell yeah, nigga!
I rate this press conference an Ikumi Nakamura out of 5, which is high praise considering her past works with Clover and Platinum Games. Thanks to the tag team duo of awkwardness and British kawaiiness, we have a slew of indie games and a taste of Vampire the Masquerade 2. If you love 2000-era CRPGs with bloodsuckers, branching dialogue trees, and twisted story scenarios, this may be your cup of tea. The underrated simulation title, Evil Genius, from 15 years ago, is getting a proper sequel and not a trash mobile port of a game. It's slated for 2020. The super popular Dota 2 mod turned standalone mobile game Auto Chess is going to be a standalone game on PC via Epic Games Store. Wow, that's a lot of roundabouts. We also have a few retro gaming throwbacks like Valfaris, which is Contra meets Strider meets heavy metal, Chris Tales, which is a love letter to JRPGs, and Songs of Conquest, which looks like the love child of Heroes of Might and Magic and the Settlers. I give this one a Day 9 Frankie tag team combo out of 5. This is your press con in a nutshell. as kicking grannies in the new Watch Dogs game, slated for March 2020. Adventure Time's Finn the Human, Jake the Dog, and Princess Bubblegum invades Brawlhalla. The Assassin's Creed Odyssey team is creating Ubisoft's version of Breath of the Wild in a title called Gods and Monsters. Speaking of copycats, they're making their own version of Rocket League called Roller Champions. For Honor is still alive and kicking, they just wanting you to know that. The Tom Clancy name is being used in a squad-based gacha mobile RPG thing, alongside a Left 4 Dead kind of game. And the guys behind It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is making a comedy TV show about MMO devs and their trials and tribulations. I give their expected showcase a shiny happy Rayman out of 5. You still remember who Rayman is, right, Ubisoft? Say what you will about the Kinda Funny show, they're doing good out there by hosting a platform for all these small-ass indie games to shine in the spotlight. These range from the retrotastic Standby to the very bird-friendly Falcon Age and the very unique adventure game After Party. Go take a look at our 2-part feature where we list all the games from the showcase. You'll find something you like there. I give this show a giant smiling Greg Miller out of 5. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming out 3rd of March 2020. It's also looking and shaping up really action heavy and sharp. And in case you didn't know, it'll also pander to nostalgic FF fans from the PS1 era. Apart from that, Square Enix showcased a bunch of other games and updates like that Crystal Dynamics made Avengers game, the release date of that action RPG Oninaki, some co-op shooter from the Bulletstorm devs, a new FF game in the veins of Final Fantasy Tactics from Japanese company Gumi, and you're just thinking about that Tifa reveal and that sweet-ass collector's edition, aren't you? Honestly, that's all Square Enix needed for this presentation to win the hearts and minds of the internet. If Ikumi Nakamura were to present the game, I think everybody's minds would explode while in a happy, tranquil state.
Thank you!
I gave this presentation the Final Fantasy VII Remake face shot out of 5, complete with unnervingly detailed pores. The very first E3 team Nintendo Direct video without Reggie Fils-Aimé went off without a hitch. In fact, it's arguably one of the better presentations out there because it's showing off what we want. Gameplay footage and release dates. Lots of them. The adorable looking Luigi's Mansion 3 will be out sometime in 2019 because bustin' makes him feel good.
It's spooky.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is getting the Dragon Quest XI guy in summer, while Banjo-Kazooie makes his fighting game debut in fall. The Breath of the Wild sequel will be in development as we speak, and I heard the dev team has been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, possibly as a point of inspiration. No More Heroes 3 is confirmed for Nintendo Switch, now with more Sentai action. And if I were to be drinking soy milk, while the Seiken Densetsu 3 remake announcement and Collection of Mana launch video happened, I won't need to buy a new keyboard and computer because I'll be doing a continuous stream of spit takes. Best news ever! I give this press conference 5 Dark Bowsers out of 5. Here's the other stuff we couldn't categorize. Dr. Disrespect got kicked out of Twitch TV via an account ban and out of E3 2019. Why? Because he was live streaming and doing IRL stuff in the convention hall toilets. Multiple times. Guess common sense and strict privacy laws can fly over most YouTubers and streamers' heads. Square Enix is going to release a new Nintendo Switch Slime controller, where the back of the Slime's bulbous head features the controls and buttons. It's the closest people will get to an actual Puff Puff. Borderlands 3's Moe's the Gunner is featured at this year's E3 2019, as well as a skill tree. We've got the written version ready for your reference and comparison. One more Vault Hunter to go. Black Desert Mobile is getting a worldwide English release by the end of 2019. If you love isometric view hack and slashers with Korean fantasy characters, and I don't mean BTS, then this one's worth watching out for. That's all for this week's KKP Wrapsody as well as E3 2019. Do check out all of our first-rate coverage, news and previews at thekkp.com. Until then, that's the way the world pixelates.